Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. She claims her family's house was deplorable.
Holes in the wall, animal feces, and garbage everywhere.
We are getting ready to move out.
I'd move out too if it was like that.
And her two siblings
Why does your mom grab you?
She gets mad at me.
We're going to stop that from happening.
still live with their mom.
We have to protect these children, not just from a toxic environment, but from a toxic parent. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Yesterday, we met 20-year-old Taylor and her mother, Susan. Now, Taylor claims her mother is a psychotic liar who's living in deplorable conditions in a house filled with filth, fleas, mold, bed bugs, and animal feces with her younger siblings, who Susan is holding hostage. Now, Susan says Taylor is not telling the truth about her current living conditions and is exaggerating things from the past. But we've got a voice from Susan's past who is here to set the record straight. Here's what happened yesterday.
I would describe my mother as evil. My mother would not clean or take care of the house. The conditions were horrendous. There was clutter, there was dog feces, bed bugs, roaches, and spiders. When I turned 18, my mom stole my identity, put multiple credit cards in my name. My mom put me thousands of dollars in debt.
Taylor's making me sound a lot worse than I really am. She's acting like a 20-year-old who's throwing a temper tantrum. I think it's ridiculous that we have to be here on the Dr. Phil show to fix this.
Did you hijack your daughter's identity?
No, I did not.
There aren't versions of the truth. Did she or did she not open up credit cards in your name?
Yes, she did. She had the credit cards the whole time. My mom has faked having a number of illnesses from MS, kidney disorder, and cancer. It is a complete and utter lie.
You have medical problems, right?
That's correct.
You're in stage 3 kidney failure?
That is correct.
She just lies about anything and everything to get what she wants.
Are you a manipulator?
No.
I was finally able to escape my mom a year and a half ago. I am currently living with my grandmother. My brother and sister are still living with my mom. I am very worried that my mom is holding both of my siblings hostage. They're currently still living in filth and trash. Social services has been called at least 4 or 5 times. I feel like the system has failed my family.
That is your opinion. I did the best that I could. My focus was completely on you guys.
You never made it easier on us. You made it 1,000 times worse. You made our lives hell and are still making hell for those 2 kids.
People that have nothing to hide, hide nothing. You didn't let us in that house. I will not allow children to live in that environment. I cannot, I will not. I believe that is what your home is like in part now. In 2012, Susan moved into a house purchased by her friend Bob. Now, the deal was that she had to pay rent and keep the place clean. Well, 4 years later, he said the entire home was trashed with holes in the wall, doors broken, animal feces, and garbage everywhere. She and her children were evicted. Is that true?
Yes.
Why?
Well, he told me he was selling it because he couldn't afford it anymore.
But why was it this way?
We are getting ready to move out.
Well, I understand, but why was it that way?
Because
I'd move out too if it was like that. But why?
Because my kids were not helping. I was doing most of it by myself.
Seriously, we have to have some sense of credibility here.
Oh, absolutely. Have I been perfect?
You're
No.
saying
Am
that
I
the
not
reason
a
this
good
is this
housekeeper?
way
No.
is because the children wouldn't help. And that's the explanation for this?
No, it's not just the only explanation.
There are trained bears in cages that are better kept than this. So, you know, tell me what you say to yourself that you walk through this room and that's okay. I'm trying to understand so I can help you here. I'll get you whatever help is necessary.
I think it's an overwhelmed thing, just of the complete situation. I truly believe at that time I was probably depressed, very much so.
Did you realize how bad it was?
I think I realized how bad it was, but I felt like for the last 13 years, I literally have just tried to survive. I didn't look at probably the big picture.
Well, Bob is on the phone. Bob, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Dr. Phil.
Thank you so much for joining us here. And you understand, I'm not here to assassinate anyone's character, but I'm trying to establish just how toxic this was. How bad was this house in 2012? This isn't just clutter. It was beyond clutter, correct?
Yes, this has been going on for the last 3 residences they had. I was trying to give the kids a good future. They would have a new home. I put furniture in. I bought her a van. After about a year, it started turning around to be bad again in the second year, and then I was getting ready to retire. And I had to get them out, and she would not leave. So it took me about another year to get her evicted. And she would never leave me in the house. But when I finally got in the house, I had a sheriff with me. And I rolled in the window, and I almost threw up. The sheriff came in, and he thought it was a crack house. And I said, no, there's 3 children that have been living here for 3 years.
You said it took 8 months to rehabilitate the house, to gut the house and get everything out where it was livable?
Yes, sir. It was so bad that we had to take the flooring up. And the worst part about it was every time throughout the week going to do things, every time they got in the car, they smelled just like that house. And I was just crushed and devastated that she let this happen.
You said that Taylor was given unnecessary medications, and Susan is doing the same to her youngest daughter in hopes of getting her deemed fully disabled in order to get government money? What do you mean?
That's a kind of a consensus between the family and people who talked about it. When I first got Taylor at 9 years old, I was tutoring her for 3 days a week, and they lived about 3 blocks away from me. And that's when I found out that she was on these ADHD stuff. And when I got her home on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, just to have her in a nice environment, we'd do homework. I'd let her play games on the computer, and then we'd have a good meal and get her homework done. And I did this for years, and once we got her off of the drugs, she was just fine. She never needed them. And her younger daughter now has been through the last few years on multiple medications, and she doesn't like them. And I was told at one time by Susan that the reason that she was trying to get her fully disabled is because she would get more Social Security benefits. And I thought it was wrong, and still do.
And do you recall having that conversation with Bob?
No.
Well, she's saying that conversation never happened, Bob.
Well, she's lying.
So it did happen. You're saying it did happen. I'm not misunderstanding you. You're saying it did happen.
Yes, and today I would walk in the door, and I've been trying so hard. I would take both those children out of that house, put them in a good home the rest of their life. Because she has made it to where no one is able to stay in contact with the kids, and we just don't know what to do. And I'm so proud of Taylor.
You said that there was an odor on these children, and when the workers came in and cleaned the house, they had to throw away all their clothing?
Yes.
That the stench was that bad?
Yes, these were my 2 best friends, and I was ashamed. 6 years ago when I bought this house. If they paid rent, took care of the place, and after that, I would give them the home, and they would always have a good place to live.
Why would you do that, Bob? Why would you just give these people a home?
It was a life event that I do believe God gave me the chance to help these 3 kids. And I love them.
Those are serious allegations from 2 different people.
Have I been the perfect parent? Absolutely not.
But you're not owning what you need to be owning.
And later, you're telling me that when this crew walks up to your door this afternoon, they're not going to see any of this.
No.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil. And dropped out of school.
Jake does have an addiction to video games.
But are his parents
I would clean the dishes while she was laying in her bed.
also playing games?
She's been on all kinds of meds, and I said, let's get her into this program.
You fixed it all. You're so good.
Kristen has tendencies of hoarding.
Hoarding?
Really? You want to make this about you right now instead of about Jake?
I'm not a hoarder, so yeah.
That's tomorrow.
This is what Taylor has to say about her mom giving meds to her sister.
My mom has told my 12-year-old sister constantly that she is ill. She'll say that my sister has ADHD, or she's got sleeping disorders, that she has brain tumors, and that she might even die. She tried the same thing with my brother and I as well. I grew up believing that I was extremely mentally ill. It hurts a lot because I know how it feels to go through the same situation. I am very aware that my mom can do horrible things.
Those are serious allegations from 2 different people.
Everything that I do, doctor-wise, through my kids, is through Children's Hospital. I do not give them medicine unnecessarily. My daughter has had psychological evaluations through them. We are working with multiple doctors for her ADHD and other issues. I would never just give my children medicine
Well,
for
you
that
can't
reason.
prescribe the medication,
Correct.
so I mean,
Correct.
somebody has to be prescribing the medication.
Why have you done it for all 3 of us, though?
I had nothing to do with that.
Do you think maybe the living situations have something to do with it?
We,
It definitely had something to do with me. So it has to do with something with them, because I was the same way. You had me on ADHD medicine until 6th grade when I finally stopped taking them. You kept doing it and doing it. You tried to tell everyone that I had learning disabilities. You had me going through reading and writing issues and telling everyone that I was psychologically ill and that I was messed up. But here I am in college, my junior year, in Psych High, getting honors and working my ass off, doing the best that I possibly can, but I have a learning disability. I have issues.
Yeah, we have a statement from a family member also. Susan changed as a person many years back. The death of her husband changed her tremendously, understandably. It has been difficult for her to be a single mom. People have tried to help, but it was never enough. I think that she needed counseling but refused to get help. The relationship she has with her children has gone downhill. She yells and loses her temper, cursing and saying horrible things. How the relationship is because of her doing and no one else. It is time she gets help so she can change the lives of her children before it's too late. I hope she realizes the living conditions her children have endured are not okay, even though she thinks they are. I hope she can see the way she has been acting with the kids, especially the hurtful things she says, are not good examples for the children. They will stick with them for their whole life.
and I can pretty much know who said that.
Well, I hope so.
You know, I want to point out one thing that you don't maybe understand. It's not just about DCFS making a decision if they're in a clean home. It's also if they have a competent parent. Because they can have a clean home, but a not well parent. So you have to understand, the more you keep saying, no, that's not it, or no, they're wrong, you're sending a message to all of us, especially a mandated reporter, that you're not of sound mind and body, that even if you have a clean apartment, they may not be with you because you don't seem able to deal with reality.
Okay.
So that's a nice warning to say, if it's true, you should step up. And it's better to own it. Because any government agency, any doctor is willing to work with you if you're willing to work. And the way that you show us that you can work is to own yourself.
Absolutely, and that's what I have worked on in the last
but
year.
But you're not fully owning it if you're still looking at pictures saying that was not it.
Have I been the perfect parent? Absolutely not. Have I done everything right? Absolutely not.
But you're not owning what you need to be owning. That's the bottom line.
I mean, I do own it.
Well, the man on the phone, everyone is wrong. They're not right.
Well, I can tell you that the medicine thing, yes, that is wrong.
They have to take a parent's word.
Correct.
You could be giving them the wrong word because you don't even see a picture that is real. So you're sending a message you're not competent.
Do you care if I add something? Do you care if I add something?
No.
Okay, so what about in the 8th grade when we were homeless, living in a homeless shelter, and I had all this anxiety built up? I actually passed out at school because my anxiety was so bad. You took me to a neurologist, and they said nothing was wrong with me. And then I told them the living situation, what was going on, and they were completely shocked. They said, take her to therapy. I went to therapy but a month, and you pulled me out because I was telling them the truth.
Taylor, every time you asked to go to the doctor, I took you for situations like that.
But you're not addressing what she just said. You pulled her out of therapy.
I did not pull her out of therapy.
You did. You told me, well, you don't need to go anymore. And you pulled me out because I was telling them the truth.
We have to protect these children, not just from a toxic environment, but from a toxic parent. I don't care what else happens. And later...
Did you get a sense?
Oh my God.
It looks like the floor is actually buckling up from urine from the dogs.
I'd like to take a look at something. Then I need to say something here because it's time to pull the trigger here.
Yeah.
You brought us pictures of 07, 16, a report from 18. We have a report from a man that was prepared to give you a home. And you're now living with your grandmother.
Yes.
And you brought us pictures of your living environment now, how you live now. I would like to take a look at those because your current living conditions are very normal, right? I mean, you have a clean room, you have some young girl clutter around.
I'm going to school next week, that's why.
I know, you got some, you've been to the containery or wherever, and
Yes.
you got your stuff ready to go. But I mean, it looks organized and it looks clean. It looks like anybody's house, right?
Yes.
So it's not that you're incapable of knowing what's right and knowing what's clean. How does that look to you?
Like my grandma's house.
Yeah.
Yes, clean.
Okay. Compared to the pictures that we had up before, which is a contrast to what your siblings are living in, what you say your siblings are living in, which is a very different situation.
Correct.
Now, come on. And you're telling me that when this crew walks up to your door this afternoon, they're not going to see any of this?
No. No.
Yeah, because let me tell you, it's time for complete transparency.
Absolutely.
You cannot have a situation bad enough, toxic enough, pathological enough that I won't bring you resources to help you with it. So I'm not here to judge you, I'm here to help you.
Thank you.
I mean, if your house looks like those pictures ×2,
It doesn't.
then you know what I'll do? I'll get a professional cleaning crew, and I'll come through and sterilize that home for you. If that carpet is urine soaked or stained or whatever, I'll have it ripped out and I'll put new carpet in there for you. I'll paint that house for you. I will clean that house up. I'll do whatever is necessary to provide those children a clean home. Or I'm going to do everything I can to take them out of it, one of the two. And then we have to decide what is going on that makes this okay with you for it to get there. Not that you would aspire to it,
No.
but you don't have any insight here. Insight is very, very important, because without it, you just can't change what you don't acknowledge. You have to have insight. That is the key building block to any kind of therapeutic intervention. And when I say insight, I mean the ability to see and understand why you do the things you do. The ability to see oneself without distortion. So you can't look through glasses that distort who you are. You can't see things through a filter that allow you to lie to yourself. And so we have to do one of two things. And Dr. Sophie, you're the one that executes on this all the time, so correct me if I'm wrong. We either have to intervene and protect these children, not just from a toxic environment, but from a toxic parent.
Correct.
Or we have to put a plan in place immediately to ensure that these children are living in a safe, nurturant environment. Where they're getting the things that they need mentally, emotionally, physically, medically, educationally, nutritionally, every other way. I mean, there's like 10 dimensions that we have to cover. And you're either going to do that with us because you accept our help, or we've got to at least temporarily get those children out of there where they're at least in an environment like she's living in right now. It's got to be one or the other. And we can say, okay, you're going to do it. You can walk off here and you can get backstage and say, those people kiss my ass. They're not going to tell me what to do. That's fine. You can say it now or you can say it then. But when you do, understand, I'm going to do everything I can to protect those children. I don't care what else happens.
Thank you.
If this house is a mess, let me bring people to clean it up for you. But this can't go on.
It's not.
You can either let us in or you can let CPS in, but somebody's going to come in there and look at this today. You want to know what I think? I think your husband took his life, and I think that rattled you no end.
Absolutely.
And I think you never healed from that. I think you never had time to grieve from that. I think you've been reeling ever since. I think you had 3 children you had to deal with. And I think you've been kind of falling backwards down a hill, and weeks turn into months and months turn into years, and you create a new normal. And I think if you had seen these pictures 20 years ago and said, that's the way you're going to raise your children, you'd have thought, not me. That's something you see on news.
On Dr. Phil.
That's something you see, yeah, on Dr. Phil. That's not me. That's somebody else. That's not me. But it became your new normal. And you got to shake it up to break it up, man. And I'm trying to shake this up and tell you that we will help you do this, but you've got to lean into it. I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to bring you the resources. If this house is a mess, let me bring people to clean it up for you. Let me get you family therapists. Let me get you support for this. Let me get this worked out. If you're struggling medically, let us pin this down. 50% of the solution to any problem lies in defining it, knowing exactly what you're dealing with for you, for the children. let us really bring some resources and help you here. But this can't go on.
It's not. I promise you that. It's not.
It can't go on another day.
I agree.
And this begins with 100% transparency.
Yes.
And so you can either let us in or you can let CPS in, but somebody's going to come in there and look at this
That's fine.
today.
That's fine.
And I'd rather we do it with you instead of to you, but that's up to you. So will you work with us on this?
Absolutely.
Because because Charlie, if we get home and it's like, well, I can't meet you, then we're showing up with the sheriff, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
we'd rather just do it. So tell me you're going to do it, or tell me you're not.
I'm doing it.
Okay,
With you.
we're doing this together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Fair enough. Okay. Okay, I'm going to head over to the green room to hear for myself what Susan's children have to say about their home life. Does it smell really bad? Dr. Phil, how you doing?
Good.
I'm Dr. Sophie.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you. Hi, Dr. Sophie. How are you?
Okay. This is Dr. Sophie, and he's a colleague of mine, and brought him in and gotten him to agree to help with your family and your mom. I want you to know that your sister and thankfully your mother has been very open and forthcoming about the situation and about how things have been living wise and all, and we're going to be real active in helping change the circumstance and try to make things calmer and cleaner and just healthier for you guys to have a chance to really be the best of who you are. Because I know you guys have moved around a lot, and the houses have not been clean and healthy and all the way they should, but that's going to change. What would you like to see change?
To see more people.
Sorry?
To see more people that we love.
Like who?
My aunt. And this guy named Bob.
Do you feel pretty isolated right now? And why is that? Why do you think that you've been kind of cut off from everybody? But you'd like to be able to spend time with them and have them come over and go see them and all?
Yes.
What would that mean to you?
A lot. Like people care about us.
You've been told that those people don't care about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've been told that, in fact, they don't like you and don't care about you and don't want to see you. But that's not true. And that's not true of Taylor. I mean, she's here. She cares about you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you miss seeing her?
Mm-hmm.
How about you? Do you have friends over?
Mm-mm.
You don't ever have friends over? You don't either? Have you ever had a friend over to your house?
Are you not allowed to, or do you ask and you're told no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how does that make you feel?
That she doesn't trust us.
Is she? Do you think she's ashamed of something, or
I don't know.
like why do you think it never happens? Do you ever argue and say and tell her you're angry about it?
Sometimes.
And what does she do if you get angry, you guys?
She just tells us to get out of her face and then go somewhere else.
Now, are you living in a home that's clean?
Right now, yeah.
And right now means when?
Clean.
Like today, yesterday, a month, a year?
Like a few weeks.
But before that, it was pretty messy?
Well, we just moved in a few months ago. It's been clean ever since.
These are pictures of the houses where you've lived in the past.
Do you remember those things?
I remember some of them. I don't remember all of them.
Does it upset you when you see these things? Why? How come it got to that place, do you think? Is she not aware of it? That must be hard for both of you because you're ashamed. You don't want to bring somebody home, but you also, on the other hand, love your mom. And you see her struggling. So you're stuck. But you understand the help he's going to do.
These are pictures, I think, of the last house you lived in. You remember this, of course, because that was just
Yeah, that was the last house.
less than 2 years ago. What do you guys say to yourself about that? Because you've been to other friends' houses, right?
Yeah.
And when you walk in, they don't look like this. So what do you think about that when you see other houses that look like this room, and then you go home and it looks like these rooms?
How did I even live in that?
Yeah. What do you say?
The same.
Same thing? Does it smell really bad? And does that smell get on you, or do you notice?
Like, it gets on us when we go to our grandma's.
Yeah. Because people comment on it, right? Like your grandma, like. And you're afraid anywhere you move, it's going to get like that again, right? Where does she grab you?
On the arms. Because she gets mad at me.
For what?
Because I don't listen.
Does it leave bruises sometime or all the time?
Most of the time.
We've got to change the family dynamic, because if this continues where there's the chaos, the yelling, the screaming, the cussing and the fighting, and you know, Taylor says she's seen bruises on your upper arm and all where your mother's grabbed you, I guess. If that continues, then, you know, Child Protective Services gets involved, and then the family can get broken apart, and we don't want that to happen. So we're going to bring people in to help the family where it is happening, you know, where you're together, so it doesn't happen. And why does she grab you sometimes?
Because she gets mad at me.
For what?
Because I don't listen.
How does she deal with you? Does she get mad at you? Does she grab you too?
Not as much.
Just your sister? Because you're bigger? Yeah, so you're less grabbable? And when, does she ever apologize when she grabs you?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Can you tell when it's going to happen? How can you tell?
Because you can tell how she acts.
When was the last time it happened?
A few months ago, when we lived in our old house.
Lived in the old house? Okay. Does it scare you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you'd rather that stop? Mm-hmm. And does it leave bruises sometime or all the time?
Most of the time.
Most of the time? Mm-hmm. Where does she grab you? Is it on the arms?
It's mostly on the arms.
Uh-huh. Has a teacher ever noticed it?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to stop that from happening, okay? Because you shouldn't, that's not okay. You shouldn't have to do that. And we're going to help her where she finds a better way of expressing herself than doing that. I'm telling you, we're going to get help for your mom and for your family, and not just on keeping the house clean, but on helping her to cope with everything and be able to be available for you guys. But you have to help out too, okay? Because this is a family situation. And so we're going to bring in family therapists, for example, that are going to want to talk to you guys as well. And you don't have to do it in front of your mom if you don't want to. You can talk privately or whatever, just so you have somebody to talk to. I raised 2 kids, 2 boys with my wife, Robin. And we told our kids, you got 2 jobs. One is to get a good education, and 2 was to have a really good time doing it. I mean, kids are supposed to be joyful. They're supposed to laugh and have fun and have friends and have a good time. And that's just my philosophy. I think you should get a good education because you need it for later in life. But you should have a good time doing it. You should have friends and have fun things and enjoy yourselves. It shouldn't be chaotic and yelling and screaming and fighting and living in squalor. That's not okay. So that's our goals, for you guys to have a good time and do your work in school. Does that sound like a fair plan? Mm-hmm. Just know we're working on this, and know your mom loves you a lot, and she really wants to do a good job, and she's accepted the help that we're offering her, okay? So things are going to get better, and we don't want you to be cut off from the people that love you, especially this one over here. She worked really hard to get you guys here. She worked, there's nothing in this for her. She's moved out, she's moved on. She did this for you 2. She wrote to us. She didn't write once, twice, she wrote several times and said, Dr. Phil, I need you to help my little brother and sister. And she kept after it till we heard her, and she did. So big thanks to her. And your mom got here, and trust me, she loves you a lot. She wants to do a good job, so we're going to help her with that. Fair enough?
Coming up, Dr. Phil sends a camera crew to check the condition of Susan's house.
Oh my God.
Well, you get this situation, right? I can't let that. We moved this way up in the order as soon as I saw what was going on, because I can't let that go past dark today. I mean, I'm a mandated reporter, and if you don't know what that means, it means there are certain jobs, roles, situations, and when you're trained as a psychologist, you're just mandated as eyes and ears in society. If you see a child that you believe to be in imminent danger, you either have to intervene or report it. It is the way she says it's not, so take a look.
I was very concerned when I saw the pictures that Taylor gave us. So if the video and the footage we're going to see from today is anything close to that, then I, as a mandated reporter, have to take action.
Did you get a sense? Oh my God.
Ugh. That's a really strong odor. I notice flies all over the place. It looks like the floor is actually buckling up from urine from the dogs. Here's the kitchen. There looks like there's dog feces on the floor. One of the problems I have right now is the condition that these dogs are living in. Oh, the smell. Oh. I'd hate to see a child living in here. I honestly would. That just breaks my heart. Oh, so here we have a bedroom. It's pretty disgusting. Looks like a dog cage is underneath the TV. And over to the left we have, looks like the master bathroom. And there's literally dog feces on the floor, and there's flies everywhere. It's that type of smell that I'm gonna be tasting this for the next week.
It's really very sad for these people. I really feel bad for these 2 children especially. Even though mom may have a good heart and she might have good intentions, she's not capable of seeing the reality of what's going on. So I have to take it in my hands, and I'm going to report them to Children's Services in their area. It is my recommendation for these children to be taken out of this situation. These children need to be in a safe, clean environment. The goal is not to separate these children from their mother in this case. It is to either keep them together or get them apart until they get healthier and can reunify together. I will keep a very close eye on the situation after I report it, for the sake of these children and for Susan as well.
The safety and well-being of those children is the top priority And now CPS is involved with this situation. I want to thank all of my guests today, especially Dr. Charles Sophie, the medical director for DCFS here in Los Angeles. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. Tell us what you think on Facebook and Twitter. We'll see you next time.
Bounce, bounce, all the girlies bounce. Take 'em to my house, turn the party out. Bounce, 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 all the girlies bounce. Take 'em to my house, turn the party out.
You warned me 1,000 times, memories can kill ya, but I didn't hear ya. I thought that I could fly, but woke up on the asphalt. I swear there was the last time. I've always been naive, call it.
Ooh, you know we gon' get it. Ooh, you know we gon' get it. Ooh, you know we gon' get it. Every day and night, that's right.